What is up, guys? Welcome to the vlog.
It's just a static electricity. It's us moving to the sound. Your lips are all I need.
Alright, we're back. Alright, guys. So, yeah, what about the MacBook Retina 2013? Well, I just got off the phone with Apple support chat. I'm not gonna got off the phone, I got off the computer with Apple support chat because I always had these little marks on my screen from the Retina display. Now, it's darn near impossible to see on camera, and it's very small marks, but there's delamination marks. And I've had this for the last, 2 years. It doesn't really bother me because it disappears when the screen is on, so I never really cared about it. And I guess just recently, because I have another PC now, and this no longer, this was never my primary to begin with, but since I had another PC to begin with for portability, I decided to send this off to Apple to get this repaired under the recall program, because I know they had one. Apparently though, when I texted them, I was out of the recall program. They're like, you're out of the recall program, go ahead and we'll go ahead and replace that for you for a very, very large fee is pretty much what it is. And how in the world does a recall program expire? I mean, I understand it expiring 10 years, 12 years, or whatever the life of the computer is, but 4 years? 4 freaking years. And I was still within the time frame where to send this in back when I was using this thing. But this was my only kind of powerful, on-the-go kind of machine. So the only problem is Premiere Pro on this thing doesn't work the best. At least now with the new update where Premiere Pro could actually utilize all those extra cores, maybe it might be better. I haven't tested it out, but for the most part, it's not the greatest Premiere Pro editing machine. This thing. If you have an Apple, you should use Final Cut Pro because it works so much better. So on and so forth. This thinness is damn near perfect. I don't need it any thinner than this. And I will never get the newer MacBook Pros because I cannot stand dongle hell. 4 USB-C ports only, Thunderbolt 3 ports only. No thank you. I use this HDMI output a lot. I use this SD card reader second to the most, which is very, very much. And by far the most used port would probably be the USB, obviously, because you plug everything to USB. I love how they have Thunderbolt 2 ports here, 2 of them. So why not have one Thunderbolt 2 port, one Thunderbolt 3 port, or 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, get rid of this USB right here, just add a USB HDMI SD card here, and keep the freaking MagSafe charger. Does that make sense? I mean, MagSafe was what made Apple, it defined Apple as far as charging method goes, the whole, you screwed up, and another screw up. You no longer have a illuminated Apple sign. Now, it screams premium. All these little features, the MagSafe, the illuminated Apple sign, this all screams premium for Apple. What can this be compared to in now, this day and age? Because I'm not gonna get the 2018 MacBook Pro. I don't care if they upgraded the CPU. I don't care if they have now 32 gigabytes allowable RAM. That all means jack to me if there's no I/O. Right? Because when I carry this around, I carry this and the power brick, and that's pretty much it. Maybe I might carry a Anywhere 2S mouse, which I actually do. But I don't want to carry any more dongles. I like to just plug the SD card reader in when I need it. If I have any USB A port power supplies, I do it. Just having this HDMI cable here. Now I know it's not a big deal, right? Because if I'm going to use these ports, I'm going to need the cables. I need to carry around the cables. And adding a dongle onto those cables is not going to be too much extra space. But the fact that I have to add that dongle when this is so much more of a premium, in my honest opinion, than just having 4 USB-C ports. That's retarded. Right. What about this? This brand new, the base model, is still cheaper than the MacBook Pro used from 4 years ago or 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, so on and so forth. This is the Dell Gaming Edition 5567. You guys saw this in my previous video. So I decided to run like a couple benchmarks, not really too many. Obviously with the multi-core speed, that still wins the MacBook, but by such a small margin, it really doesn't matter because this one has the 7th gen Kaby Lake processor, but it doesn't support hyperthreading, which why not? All right, but they don't. Anyways, budget computer. What do you expect? For the most part, I'm gonna go ahead and pump up a whole bunch of upgrades on this thing, so I'm pretty much gonna max it out to my standards, so that it could run Premiere Pro quite efficiently. And with those upgrades, it's like buying a Razer blade or XPS or so on and so forth. So if you guys want to upgrade a notebook, just get one that's already been kind of packed in, especially for PC models, because they're going to cost you the same. So I ran some benchmarks. Let's go ahead and look at both benchmarks here. So this is the 2013 MacBook Pro Retina, and the scores are pretty respectable. The CPU came in at 512 with the graphics coming in at 61.25 frames per second. And I did notice some thermal throttling. So for the next test, you're going to see me test the CPU side only, but in front of an air conditioner. So if you look here, I did get like a 50-point boost on the CPU end. The GPU I did not test in front of the air conditioner, but like I said, I'm pretty sure if I was blowing cold air into the vents on the side, I will get a higher score. Next up is going to be the Dell 7567 Gaming Edition score. If you look here, because the Dell is an i5 and it doesn't have hyperthreading, the score is going to be a little bit lower, but I was expecting it to be quite a bit lower than the MacBook Pro Retina, but it wasn't. So I got a 497, and this is actually a really respectable score, especially because this does not have hyperthreading. But for what it is, the graphics card is where it shines at 76.92 frames per second. That GTX 1050 is just nuts. Now for shits and giggles, let's go ahead and look at my Mac Pro. This is my Mac Pro, the 12 core, 24 thread, the 5690 Xenon CPU, 2 of them, and the numbers are going to be out of this world, especially because I mean, it's a Xeon processor. This is my main editing rig, and the score is going to pop up pretty soon. If you look at that, it's 1,609 with the OpenGL test at 63.96 frames per second. This is actually perfectly fine, and I noticed that during video editing, this machine just crushes it. I'd prefer this setup over any mobile setup, and if you guys are video editors, I suggest a desktop. We look at thermal throttling for both of them, right? This thing, I could run it at 100% CPU, 100% GPU, it will never thermal throttle. Why? Because it has these huge vents that are designed and do what they're designed for. They're very good at it. It is still relatively thin, not as thin as the MacBook Pro Retina. But does it matter, guys? I mean, if you're gonna put this in your bag and you're gonna put this in your bag, it's gonna be the same freaking thing. You're not gonna really notice it when it's in your bag. This is actually really perfect thinness, especially with the I/O it offers. So let's see what I/O it offers. It has a barrel plug, which is just a power plug, whatever, a USB-A port, USB 3.0 Type A port, an SD card reader. Holy crap! See, it has SD card reader. You have 2 more USB 3.0 ports, a 2-in-1 headphone and microphone jack, an HDMI output, and a network port. Now this is fantastic. This is fantastic because not a lot of people use it. A lot of people use Wi-Fi, but when you want that really solid connection, definitely you can't really beat a gigabit network connection port. And so this thing, no matter how many times I run Cinebench 15R on it, I can run it 30 times. I'm gonna get consistent numbers. The Mac specs, i7 48 something, quad core hyper-threaded, fantastic. Comes with the GTX 750M, which is, it's like a run-of-the-mill card. It's like the 1050, but like we're looking at like a 3 generation in advance, right? So everything about that Dell is far more advanced as far as the technology goes. But like I said before, technology is not moving towards faster speeds. And the new 8th gen is a little bit different because you're adding more cores, so it's adding more productivity. But technology is going towards battery life, power consumption, and it shows. This one I could get 3.5, 4 hours of battery life out of it if I just do light web surfing, maybe more. At the moment I edit one video, it's pretty much game over. I get like 2 hours of battery life, and this battery is a little bit old. But like I said, it's a Retina machine. It's freaking impossible to replace the battery on these things. Apple really screws you over when it comes to upgradability. All right, always go with the newer stuff. The thing is, with the newer stuff, Apple, everything's soldered in, it's not upgradable. So if you're gonna go with the newer stuff, and you don't mind Windows, because Windows 10 is actually pretty good now, I suggest a PC any day. Until, hey, bring back a machine like this, keep this thinness. The I/O on this is perfect. Just pop in a USB-C somewhere, Thunderbolt 3, maybe 2 of them, and this would have been the perfect MacBook Pro. And this thing will probably even cool better. Now this thing thermal throttles to all hell as well, so and take it or leave it. But I mean, you make this thing thinner. I mean, what do you think is gonna happen? Put a a process that creates more heat. Anyways, that's my rant, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day, great night, great whenever you're watching this. And remember, live well, laugh more.